Good morning. Well, it is the third day of January and the third day of the Three Rivers Challenge, which is a pantry challenge. So here it is, the third day of January and the third day of our Three Rivers Challenge, our pantry challenge, where we will be eating out of our pantry for the month of January and February. Well, it's the morning and I'm trying to talk, so I'm trying not to stumble over my words this morning as I wake up. I did not drink tea this morning. Shocker. Surprise. Headlines. I went ahead and fixed a cup of coffee this morning because Donald had made a pot of coffee before he went to work. And so I just went ahead and made coffee, and I added a packet of hot chocolate mix because I wanted kind of like a mocha coffee this morning, but I didn't want to take a lot of time. That coffee was already made. I didn't want to wait for the tea water to heat up, which is very unusual for me. I kind of enjoy heating up the water and picking out the tea every day, several times a day. But this morning, that hot coffee was already sitting there and ready to go. It's a chilly morning. There's frost on everything. We haven't had any snow, just the snow flurries I was telling you about the day we went up to the fruit stand. But it's chilly this morning. There's frost all over everything. I think it's probably around 37 degrees, which is probably not too cold to anybody else, 37 degrees Fahrenheit. But for us, it's a little chilly. So that big hot pot of coffee was sitting there, and Donald had just taken his to-go cup with him. He had filled up his tumbler that he takes with him every morning, and I thought, well, it's already hot and it's ready to go. I think I'm just going to have coffee this morning. So I fixed a cup of coffee and I added a packet of hot chocolate to it because that's the way I drink my coffee these days. It's just a little richer. It's got that little chocolate flavor. I very rarely drink coffee, but when I do, that's the way I've been ordering it. Even if I'm at a restaurant, I'll order it and add the hot chocolate to it. I'll ask them if they have hot chocolate so that I can add to it, and it's never a problem. It seems like it's easier to order coffee at a restaurant than it is tea. If I ask for boiling water, I usually have a few tea bags, packets in my purse, but I can sometimes order hot water. But sometimes it seems like that's a hassle to order a cup of hot water in some restaurants. You wouldn't think it would be, but it seems like it is. So I just go ahead and order coffee and have a packet of hot chocolate added to it, and it's a delicious drink this morning. I have really enjoyed it. It's the quiet time. The babies are not here yet. Of course, they're not babies anymore. They're from age 12 down to 5. So they're not babies anymore. They're growing up on me, but they'll always be my little grandbabies, no matter how big they get. Just like my children, they're my babies, even though they're full grown with mates and babies of their own. So, but anyway, they're not here yet, and so I've just been enjoying a cup of coffee this morning in the quiet. It seems like, I value a time when I can sit down and have a quiet moment. And I do devotions in the morning, or I do devotions whenever I can. If it's not in the morning, then it's whenever I can get them into my day. I would love to do them every morning, but some days I have to hit the ground running, so I'm not able to get them done. But I do what I can, and those devotions, they replenish me spiritually and give me some food for thought, spiritual thought throughout the day. And so I enjoy doing my devotions in the morning. It's just been quiet. I hadn't wanted to move very much. I've been sitting here enjoying this cup of delicious coffee with the hot cocoa mixed in it, with the hot cocoa, the Swiss Miss chocolate packet mixed in with it. I've been enjoying that this morning. Now I'm going to have to limit myself to 1 cup of this because I'm caffeine sensitive. I can drink caffeine. If I drink this coffee, I have to drink it early, because if I were to drink it close to bedtime, I would be up all night. Now, Donald is not caffeine sensitive. He can drink a pot or more of coffee a day, and he can drink it all the way up to bedtime and just go downstairs and go to sleep. But I can't do that. I mean, I can, one cup is of coffee is about all that I need to really get me going in the morning. And I guess it's where I don't drink a lot of caffeine, so it affects me that way. But I think it's always affected me that way. I look back and I've always got a real hyper boost from caffeine. So, when I mentioned it to my doctor years ago, he said, well, you're probably caffeine sensitive. He said, you might want to limit that, knowing that you're caffeine sensitive. So I have limited it, and I kind of just stick to tea, because tea has caffeine, but it has less caffeine. And then, of course, I drink a lot of teas that don't have any caffeine. They're herbal teas and teas that are non-caffeinated. Of course, now, I don't think caffeine is a bad thing. I don't mind having a little caffeine in my diet. I think you can overdo it just like you can overdo anything. I think there has to be a limit to it, and everybody knows their own limit. My limit to caffeine would be less because I'm caffeine sensitive. Donald's is more because he's not caffeine sensitive. So I am by no means telling you what to drink. You drink whatever you want to drink and enjoy it. This morning, which is very odd for me, I'm enjoying this cup of coffee because when you watch my channel, I'm a tea drinker. I love to drink hot teas, cold teas, even lukewarm teas. It doesn't matter. I can drink them any temperature, and I can drink them with sweetener or without sweetener. Lately, I've been leaving out the sweetener. Now, this day, the day January 3rd, I am doing the Pantry Challenge, the hashtag 3 Rivers Challenge, put on by Jessica from 3 Rivers Homestead. And I've been enjoying doing her collab. I enjoy it because she opens it to everybody. You couldn't be more welcoming than that. I enjoy the collaboration with her on this because it's open. She lets you set your own rules. She tells you her rules for the collaboration, and then you get to set your own rules. And my rules are much like hers. I am into saving money. I want to save money for the month of January and February, so I don't plan on doing any grocery shopping these 2 months, not even for milk or anything else. Now, Donald and I can skip milk for January and February. Our little granddaughter, who has disabilities, she may, since milk is one of her favorites, and she will ask for milk. If we need milk for her, we do have, you can freeze milk. You can freeze milk in the gallon jug. That's why most of them have that little indentation on the side, so that when you freeze it, that'll pop out to give it the space it needs to freeze. And you can just set that out in a refrigerator for a few days. That'll unthaw completely. And then there you go. You've got milk. We have a couple of jugs frozen. We've got some milk downstairs, so I can set those out for her, and we'll have milk for her for the next couple of months. But if we didn't, we could just mention to her parents to bring a gallon of milk, and they would do that. They'll bring whatever they need. So there's no problem there. I don't plan on going to the grocery store and buying any groceries for the month of January or February. I am planning to share with you every day what I fix from the pantry for whatever meals. Now, I'm here by myself here this morning. I usually don't eat breakfast. I try to intermittent fast. I try to stop eating around 6 o'clock, and then I don't start until I have lunch around 1 o'clock the next day. So see, that will cut out any kind of breakfast for me. I guess I could count this chocolate that I've got in this coffee as breakfast, because it would have some carbs and some calories. But otherwise, black coffee does not have any carbs or calories. So I'm having the coffee with the packet of chocolate, so I guess I could count that as my breakfast this morning. And it does indeed break the fast here a little early. So I guess I'll count that for my breakfast. And it indeed was from our pantry. We buy the boxes of Swiss Miss. Let me show you those. I'll take you in there and show you what we buy. We buy the really big boxes of Swiss Miss that has the 50 packets in here. And we buy these and have them in our pantry because our grandchildren love to make their own hot chocolate. There's nothing that tickles me to death more than to see them go get a cup and get a spoon and come in here. And this is where we have their hot chocolate for them. I've got a little cubby here that's got snacks. And I just put these snacks down here on the bottom. Up here are some things that I grab whenever I'm planning meals. Like, for instance, these beans. You know, of course, these are not for the kids' snacks. They don't bother anything up here on the top. I sometimes put Hershey's Kisses in this little thing that says Kids Treats. And they will sometimes look in there to see if there's Hershey Kisses. But these are their little snacks. And then I have some extra jellies that are in the lineup to be eaten right here. Here's a few little packs of raisins. But their main snacks are down here. There might be some baggies of dried cereal that they like to snack on. Some crackers, an apple, some oranges. And here are the hot chocolate packets. And they'll come in here and they'll have a little hot chocolate packet in their hand. And they're heading to the bathroom sink to run the hot water to make themselves a cup of hot chocolate. So right here's our little snack center. And they come and help themselves here. I try to keep these for Madeline because these are one of her favorites. She loves to eat these little peaches. And she can come in here and get what she wants. So I try to keep them close to where Madeline can see them and she can let us know when she wants peaches. She is, they consider her nonverbal, but she does let us know what she wants. So I try to make that easy for her to communicate with us about what it is that she's wanting. So I leave things sitting out on the counter that she can let me know when I'm not in here working. I try to find a place to just put. Now, she'll eat these today. She'll get these and she'll say, peaches, peaches. And so we'll eat peaches with her. Here's that delicious pot of coffee still sitting there calling my name. The simple meal, the simple meal that I've wanted to make today, you know, we had that simple meal of spaghetti with ragu sauce and that ham, that country ham that we fried. And that went over great. I mean, the kids, they enjoyed it. Donald enjoyed it. Nobody complained. Everybody ate it, and it was fine. So that was a good pantry meal yesterday, as simple as it could be. Just, you know, macaroni noodles, ragu sauce. Even though I have homemade sauce, it seems like the ragu goes over smoother. My homemade sauce, it's never consistent because I never can get the same tomatoes every year to go in that. It's always a different tomato. I love the purple Cherokee, the black Crim. I love the darker colored tomatoes. Donald, he likes the tomatoes that he grew up on, the Rudigers, you know, any of the big old slicing tomatoes. He loves those. But I make sauce out of whatever kind of tomato that I have on hand. That's what I use. I don't discriminate against tomatoes. I go ahead and use whatever tomatoes I can find. And I grow a lot of tomatoes in our little garden out here, our little vegetable garden every year. And those tomatoes are excellent. They're excellent for making sandwiches, cutting up as a side on our meal plates, for making fresh pico, making salsa. So I really use the tomatoes. I love them. He loves them. I like them. But Donald really loves them. I mean, his family, they would eat tomatoes every day for every meal if they were available. I think we ate more cucumbers and tomatoes and things like that. Pickles, maybe not necessarily just tomatoes, but he really loves tomatoes. I like them. He loves them. Well, we grow plenty of tomatoes, but if I can't grow them, then I'll go to the farmer's market or to the fruit stand up, and I will buy boxes. They sell them by the box, and they all say canning tomatoes. And you never know what kind of tomatoes you're getting. There's no specific kind. Those boxed up canning tomatoes are a variety of different tomatoes. You might get one variety this month or this week, and you might get other varieties next week. Or you may go buy 2 or 3 boxes, and all 3 of them be a different variety of tomato. So it's never the same tomato. And when you're using a different tomato, you get a different taste every time you make a batch of sauce. Now, I love the mix-up. I hate for food to consistently taste the same. I don't know if I'm unusual or not, but I love when something's a little different each time you make it, or it's not always the consistent flavor. It's a little, maybe somebody used more garlic, or maybe we used more onion and left out the garlic, or maybe somebody used onion and garlic and a different tomato. I love the experience of a fresh sauce and it not being consistent. Donald, on the other hand, he loves consistency in his food. He loves it to taste the same every time you make it. I remember when we first started, when we first got married, these are funny stories. But one day, I came from a family of 5 children and 2 parents. So there were 7 in our family. So when we fixed a pot of spaghetti sauce or a pot of soup, it was a big pot. It was enough to feed 7 people. Well, when Donald and I first got married and he came home, there was a big, fresh pot of vegetable soup. And he was like, I showed it him. I said, this is what's for dinner. I made soup. And he was like, honey, that soup is beautiful and it is delicious. He said, but who else is coming to dinner? And I said, what do you mean? Nobody else is coming to dinner. This is just dinner for us tonight. He said, that's a huge pot of soup. He said, that's a gallon of soup. He said, that's going to feed more people than me or you. And I thought about it and I was like, he's right. I have made this huge gallon of soup because that's what I was used to fixing, was to feed 7 people, and now there's only 2 here. So I said, well, I guess we'll be eating soup all week. And we did indeed eat soup all week. So, there was some differences there. Now, once I fix something, Donald doesn't mind eating that food until it's gone. That's a great budget-friendly, money-saving tip. If you want to quit wasting your money, stop throwing your food away. If you make too much and you have leftovers, then if you don't plan to eat those leftovers in the next few days, put them in the freezer. I've heard people say, well, they don't taste the same when they come out of the freezer. Sure they do. You just have to put a little bit of effort into reheating those foods so that they do taste the same, or they do taste as good as before you froze them. We freeze our bread sometimes to keep bread on hand. We're not eating as much bread these days as we used to. We're trying to cut out a lot of bread. And I've got my sourdough starter going, so I'll be making our own bread here soon. But to keep a couple of loaves on, we never went to the grocery store more than once a month. That's how we grocery shopped. We went once a month, especially when our children were at home. It kept us from overspending at the grocery store, and we always ate what we had. Well, we always froze the bread because we would eat about 2 loaves of bread a week, and 8 loaves of bread, if you bought that beforehand, which we did, would not have kept for 2 weeks. It would have started to mold by the end of the month. So we froze the bread, which you can freeze bread, and then you can pull it out. I cannot tell you how many people have said, it never tastes the same out of the freezer. Now, I don't know how they're freezing their bread. I don't know. But ours always tasted the same. Maybe because we were used to it. I'm not sure. But we would take that loaf of bread out of the freezer. Of course, it wasn't in there but just a week. I guess the longer you leave your bread in the freezer, the more it may not taste the same. But ours was never frozen more than a week or 2 at the most. But we would lay the bread out the night before. It would unthaw, and it would be ready for us to eat. Nobody ever said anything about it. When they came here to eat with us, nobody ever complained that the bread wasn't fresh. I mean, it was just, and a tip, a secret I'll share with you. Do you know if you go to a restaurant, 9 times out of 10, that bread's been frozen. It's back there in the freezer. They get a bread delivery once a week. They freeze a portion of the bread, and it is laid out the night before, put out on their shelf, and then the next day it's served. So you're getting frozen bread 9 times out of 10. And even if they specifically say their bread is never frozen, their dough is frozen. There's frozen dough that they get out and proof and set out, and then they make their bread from that, or their pizza, or whatever it is, their bread products they're making from frozen dough. So maybe their bread was never frozen, but a lot of times their bread dough is frozen and then set out and it's baked fresh. That's just a fact. It's a fact of our times to get you things that you need to eat on a timely manner. That's what a freezer's for, and they're wonderful. And if you learn how to use that wonderful tool of your freezer, then you'll understand that it can really work for you if you use your things out of the freezer in a timely manner. And if you freeze them right, if you make sure they're fresh when you're wrapping them up and freezing them, that's another video for another day. Maybe we can share freezer tips, and it will help you understand that you can eat out of your freezer and it can be just as good. Now, I don't know if it's a true taste thing, or maybe somebody's not eating it in a timely manner. And if you let something freezer burn and you get it out of the freezer, you definitely know something's wrong with the meat or with the bread or whatever you freeze. If you allow it to get freezer burned, there's a real problem with that. That does leave a not so great taste. And if you put your bread right on the shelf with your, let's say your sweet bell peppers or your frozen onions or anything that has a strong odor, it may come through those plastic packages and get into your bread. So you may be tasting an odor from, something that your bread was frozen close to. So all those things you have to pay attention to and be careful when you're freezing if you want it to taste like fresh bread when you get it out and let it unthaw. But we always did that to save money, never had any problem with that. We would eat out of the freezer. You'd be surprised. There's just so many things you can freeze. You can freeze milk. You can freeze eggs. You can freeze butter. I mean, all those things you think you have to have fresh. When you shop once a month, which Donald and I did for years when our family was growing up, we shopped once a month. And if we ran out of something, we didn't run to the store to get it. We made do without it. And we made a note that we needed a little more for the next month. But we had disciplined ourselves to go into the grocery store once a month. So these challenges are not really hard for Donald and myself. They're not hard for me because it's kind of an experience thing. I have experience in making things last. I have experience in doing without until I can get some more. And I like that. But I went that long about way just to tell you about the consistency of spaghetti sauce. Now, that's why my spaghetti sauce is never consistent, is because I use what I have on hand and I use a variety. I fresh cook every batch of spaghetti sauce. And even if I can spaghetti sauce, I have a huge canner of sauce that I have cooked that has a different element to it from the next batch. I don't use the exact tomato, the exact amount of this, the exact amount of that. That's not how I cook. I cook with whatever I have on hand. And I love that because I'm a person that gets food fatigue really easy. I'm a person that would get bored if every time I ate that spaghetti, it tasted the same. Or if every time I ate that soup, it was the exact same. That I would have food fatigue so fast, and it would make me not want to eat that because, I feel like I just had it. I like for my food to have surprising elements in a good way. Now, I like for all the things to go together and the taste that complement each other. I love to keep those kind of foods going, but I don't always necessarily want the exact same flavor. Now, I'll make spaghetti sauce and Donald will be like, this is delicious. I would like the spaghetti sauce to taste like this every time you make it. He said, did you make a note of how you made this so that you can make this just like this again? And I'm like, no, I didn't. Uh, I just threw that together with the ingredients that I have and the knowledge that I have on making sauce, and this sauce just turned out exceptionally well. Well, I'm not sure if that was a great sauce or if he was just really hungry for it that day. I have friends that are in their 90s. They're older. And we have a ladies' fellowship group, and they're older. And some of the conversations we have, they'll talk about the things that I hear them say. It's like bread. They will say that bread does not taste the same as it did when they were young. When you went and bought a loaf of bread when they were younger, they said that the bread that you buy now does not taste the same. There's many things they'll say, it just doesn't taste the same. And I am wondering at the big difference. I'm sure there are many differences. If you live to be 90 years old, I am sure you have lived to see many, many changes. Many things in life are not as good as they used to be. Some things in life are better, and that's just life. If you're alive, things are ever changing, aren't they? But it makes me stop and think, even if I'm in here making the sourdough recipe that I've made for 41 years, and I have that same strain of starter going for 41 years. I've had this starter. I will take starter if I have too much and put it in my freezer, and I'll mark it sourdough starter. And so I have backup starters in my freezer that came from the same starter that I've used for 41 years, almost 42, going on 42 years. Now, I don't know if that starter tastes the same as it did when I first started making it. All I know is that the bread is very good that comes from that starter. And I have to take breaks from it because me and Donald, it makes 3 loaves at a time when I make the bread. Here is my sourdough starter. This is a coffee filter that's on top that I've just put on with the rim. And I can tell you, I can smell this sourdough starter, and it smells delicious. I mean, I've got to make bread with it soon. You can see that it's bubbling. I will take a cup or two off of this starter, and if I'm not making bread, I'll put it in the freezer. Right here you can see it says sourdough starter 2023. This is a sourdough starter that I've stuck in here, and I will use that. And I've used that starter. That's the same starter I've had for almost 42 years. Isn't that amazing? Now, I can't tell you if this starter's changed over the last 42 years or not. The only thing I can say is it's still making delicious bread. My recipe makes 3 loaves at a time. And you can slice it and make sandwiches out of it. It makes a delicious sourdough bread. But a lot of people, they want things to taste exactly the same every time. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if things actually change. I don't know if the flour has changed over the last 42 years or not. And with my friends, I don't know if their flour that they use has changed. I like to use King Arthur flour. You can use whatever kind of flour you are used to. But, we're used to using King Arthur or fresh milled flour that we get from places sometimes. Growing up, it was easier to get fresh milled flour. I don't know. I mean, the food consistency, a lot of things change. But I do hear my older friends say that nothing tastes the way that it used to. Even Coca-Cola, they'll say Coca-Cola does not taste the same. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I don't mind a little bit of change as long as it's positive and good and the product's still delicious. I mean, I'm adventurous like that. I'm the kind of person that I can use the same shampoos, but I like to mix it up because it's like if I use the same shampoo for too long and it doesn't look like it's working for my hair, I'll change up. I'm not brand loyal. I'm not loyal to anything that doesn't serve me. You know what I'm saying? I can go buy a store brand and compare it to a brand name and pick the better of the two. And if that store brand is just as good as that name brand, you better believe I'm going to buy the store brand, because I can save a few cents, maybe even a few dollars, depending on what you're buying. And if it does the same thing, then that's good enough for me. You know, I want quality things that really work. And I like for things to be effective, but I don't mind trying new things. I don't mind mixing things up, and um, if something's just as good, enjoying it if it's not exactly the same. But I realize there are people that like everything to taste the same. Let me know in the comments if you like everything to taste the same, if you like a consistent flavor. I know brands do strive to have a consistent flavor. So I know there's must be a large majority of people that want it to consistently taste the same. But just let me know if you like things to taste the same all the time, or if you like to change it up and have different flavors. If you're like me, if you're adventurous and like things to have, you know, a different flavor sometimes. You like the use of a different tomato or a different type of potato, or, you know, you just like to change things around a little bit. I'd be interested to know how many people are like me and how many people are like consistent flavors, consistent brands, and things to stay the same. Just let me know in the comments. That'll help me learn a lot right there. Well, anyway, this video is getting lengthy. I'm here by myself. I'm able to share some things with you. I'm able to find out maybe what you think or feel about a certain thing. And I'm getting lengthy. But I don't even know what I'm going to make for lunch. Probably for the kids, I'll be making something like maybe some of this leftover spaghetti. I know Madeline, she likes, my little granddaughter with disabilities, she likes certain things, and those are the only things she wants. She loves those peaches, yogurt, and right now waffles. She'll eat bacon. She loves bacon and sausage. So it'll be something that she really likes. I try to give her all of her favorite things. She was away from here for a little bit on the winter break when we had the holidays. She had a break, and her parents were at home. She was at home more, but she was glad to get back to Grammy's yesterday. She was so happy. She came running in, and she was glad to be back here, and she was enjoying some of her favorite foods, which are waffles, fruit, and yogurt. You know, those are the things that she loves to eat here. So she was asking for all those things, and of course she got all those things yesterday. And I've got some time here, and to figure out lunch might be an individual thing for each child. If it wants something different, then they certainly can choose whatever they want for lunch. Donald probably will not come home for dinner tonight. He'll probably either pick something up on the way home or just eat whatever he finds in the refrigerator. I won't have to fix anything special tonight for dinner. Just let the kids eat individually, and then I'll probably just even eat something that we already have in the refrigerator. But I'll try to share that with you, because I'm eating from the pantry, eating from the refrigerator and the freezer, even some dried things that we have, and I'm trying to share that with you for the pantry challenge. That's why I hesitate to share every day about the pantry challenge, is because I never know if it's going to be something fresh made or if we're going to get something out of the refrigerator. But hey, if we eat leftovers and make it out of the refrigerator, that's still eating from our supplies, right? We're not buying anything new. But I did try to dedicate a video each day in January to share with you the pantry challenge, the hashtag 3 Rivers challenge, share it with you to let you know what we're eating. And so it's not anything exciting today. It's probably a leftover day. But I wanted to come in and just share a few thoughts with you, get a few answers from you, just to let me know if you get food fatigue very easily, or if you find comfort and joy in having the same taste and the same type of foods. just let me know in a comment if you feel like it. If you've got something to say, share it with me. I'll be glad to hear it. Be sure and subscribe. And if you subscribe, come back and watch me. Most of my viewers are new viewers. Most of my viewers are not coming back consistently according to my analytics. So I just encourage you that if you came back today, come back tomorrow and come back and see what's going on here at Much Ado About Something. I appreciate every one of you, every viewer that took the time out today to watch my channel and to comment and share. I thank you for the shares. It really makes a difference in a channel. You know, I'm trying to grow my channel a little bit right here. I really want to see some growth in 2024. And it means a lot to me for you to share my channel and comment and subscribe and to just watch. It does. It means so much. And I thank you and I appreciate that. I'll give you a cookie moment and an Angelina moment. This is Angelina. And Cookie is probably lazing around somewhere in the living room. No, he's in here at the food. He's been chowing down this morning. And of course, they're always up for some lovin's. That's our little cookie moment for the day. I know people enjoy seeing the cats, enjoy seeing how they're doing. So I like to include a few clips of them and let you see how they're doing. Now, he doesn't have fleas. He just wants to scratch. We give him a peel for fleas, but he just, I guess it relaxes him to itch. To scratch. He's not really itching. Thank you for joining me. January day 3. I didn't have a lot in the pantry department to share with you today, but maybe tomorrow I'll be making something fresh and new, and I'll be able to share that with you. Thank you for joining me today, and like always, until next time.